Hi, I'm Larry,
I'm Gret.
I'm Christy.
and welcome to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
A podcast about the outrageous and sometimes dark world of drag, gender, and sexual identity, and how communities facing stigmatization are making a positive impact just by living their lives out loud.
Brought to you by Virtual Arts.
Hi, I'm Larry.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Gret, and welcome to today's episode of Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
Today is a very exciting day because we have the magnificent Zola here. And I suggest we get right into it.
Sounds good.
Hi, Zola. How are you? Now,
Hi, how are you?
would you like us to refer to you as Zola, or do you have another name? Or
My name is Edward, but so few people know that my name is Edward because a lot of people call me Zoli. Even when I'm out of drag, did I say Zoli? Zola, even when I'm out of drag. So I don't mind.
you don't? Okay, good. In our very first conversation between you and I, you said that you were moving to Florida.
I
Okay.
am at the end of the month.
And I just want to know, why the hell are you moving to Florida?
Many reasons. Of course, we need more of us down there. It's sunnier. I feel my disposition, the older I get, is a little bit more sunnier than I've allowed myself to be in the past. And I'm not happy here.
That's a good
Yeah.
reason to leave.
Yeah, at this point in my life, happiness is the number one thing. I spent a lifetime of supporting people and being there for other people and putting myself second. And so this part of my life, I'm putting myself first.
Oh, fantastic. That is so fantastic. Tell us a little bit about you and some of your history.
Okay, well, if you can't tell, I'm a little gay, and some days a lot of gay. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I used to be the show director of Jock's Cabaret, which is the only 7-night-a-week show bar on the East Coast. I was in the Air Force and got kicked out of the Air Force for being gay back in the 80s. I'm an AIDS survivor. Um, and a professional drag queen, and also a professional makeup artist, which is my day job.
Well, fantastic, fantastic. Have you been working on Broadway shows?
I have worked at Radio City um, for since 2007 or 8, something like that, off and on. And so that's what I was doing this year.
And so you're leaving just as Hugh Jackman is coming.
Yes, I am. It has to be done.
And where will you be going in Florida?
I'll be going to St. Pete, Florida. Yeah.
You know, when people think of Florida, I think they always think that they're going to go to the other coast instead of the Gulf of America. So
Right.
did I just say Gulf of America? It's not even on.
You did. Yeah, I've spent some time in St. Pete. This wasn't like I'm just gonna put a pin and a place on the map. I have friends that live there. I'm from Boston. I'm from Massachusetts. I go down there a couple times a year, so I know the area and I know what I'm getting myself into. So yes, I love it.
So can you give us a little bit of your history doing drag in New York? Not that this is only going to be about drag, but would love to know a
Right.
little more about that because I've seen some glorious photos.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you. I do clean up very well as a drag queen. Um, so my history in New York. I didn't really do a lot when I first came to New York. I did some stuff at East of 8 and Urge back in the day. But what really kind of put me on the drag scene was going out to Fire Island. I have a group of friends who I've known for a while that have a Fire Island, New York, Boston, and Florida, Fort Lauderdale connection. So I kind of stumbled in or kind of came into a family down in Fire Island. So I started to be interested in the Miss Fire Island pageant. I thought it was very glamorous. It's the type of glamour and drag that I do. And I entered the Ms. Fire Island, which is 40 years of age or over 250 pounds. Um, so obviously, you know which category I was in. Over 250 pounds. No, the 40 years of age. And I won my first try.
Wow.
And so it was really great. The community set me out there and they loved me. And then I thought, well, let me do Miss Fire Island, which is the main category and has a long history out there in Fire Island, because of the quality of drag and just the pageantry of. And then it took me about, how long did it take me? About 3 attempts to win it, but I eventually won it. And that's kind of been my drag here in New York. I also do some summers at the Post Office Cafe in Provincetown with a neat cocktail. I also do drag gigs here and there, some stuff at the Imperial Court. My drag career is whatever I can fit into my life as a makeup artist. I have a
So,
love-hate relationship with Provincetown.
yeah. Why
Tell
is
us
that?
about that.
We started out with a zinger. Uh, Provincetown's one of those areas. It's kind of, it has a little bit of a similarity to Fire Island, but I find Provincetown to be segregated in a way. And
Mm,
I never felt as welcomed and appreciated as a Black man in Provincetown the way I do in Fire Island.
Mm,
Personal opinion, my opinion,
sure,
not the
sure.
truth, it's just mine. Yes.
yeah, well, I mean, obviously you felt that, so there has to be some truth in it. Is it from the other queens? Is it from the audiences? Is it
No, no, the audiences are great because the audiences come from all over.
Mhm.
So as I said, it wasn't necessarily how I felt in drag. It was more how I felt out of drag.
Mm,
And being from a Bostonian and knowing the culture of Boston, the prejudice and racism in Boston, of course that's going to bleed into Provincetown because the Bostonians are coming from Boston to Provincetown. So they're, you know what I mean? Just because it's gay and a little bit more freer doesn't mean they don't bring their prejudices with them.
sure.
Right. When did you leave Boston?
I escaped Boston in 2000. Now, mind you, I'm from Massachusetts, but I didn't get into Boston until after I came out of the Air Force. So it was the middle 80s that I was in
Mm.
Boston, you know, onward.
I lived in Boston from 95 to 99 and then the North Shore from until 2002. So
None.
similar
Yeah.
time frame there. Yeah. And
Yeah. And you escaped.
I did. I did.
Yeah. It's funny to say that word, and I don't think I've ever really said that, but it's just, if you see how Boston is now, you kind of feel like, yeah, I glad I left that place. I mean, great friends. It's a great area. It's just the energy is so different.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
going through growing pains for sure. A lot of things under the carpet that they don't want to deal with really. And I think they,
Yeah.
they're just going through it.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. It's so funny when I left Boston and people were telling me, we were having conversations about various different things, and they consider Boston a liberal city. And I was like, liberal?
Mm,
But it's liberal in policy. It's not
yes,
actually liberal in the way how people treat you. And
absolutely. Yeah.
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 Do you find New York City liberal?
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have pockets, Staten Island, of areas that aren't so so liberal. New Jersey. You have, various areas that aren't so liberal, but I can be a drag queen at coming out of the bar at 4 or 5 a.m. and most cases I'm not going to get beat up or no one's going to say anything. Of course, there's those um, pockets of things that happen in life that aren't the norm.
Sure. And how do you feel about the climate where you're moving to? Is it pretty liberal down there?
I'm a bubble traveler, so that's the way how I phrase it. So I lived in a bubble in Boston, I live in a bubble in New York, and I'm going to go to another bubble in St. Pete. So I've never had a single problem in St. Pete. Mind you, I haven't pressed the envelope as much as I will be once I start living there and going out of my friend's place and drag or going to other drag places. But the bubble that I'm going into is very welcoming. Central Avenue has all the bars and cocktail is the name of the bar complex. It has a pool bar, a hotel, a new ball cocktail lounge in it, and food and yeah. But I'm acutely aware of where I'm moving to and the dangers that I could face. But
Sure.
are we going to be safe for the rest of our lives and not grow and learn things? So
Where are there not going to be issues today? They're,
right.
all coming back. You said you managed a cabaret in
Mhm.
Boston.
This is the Jocks Cabaret on Broadway Street, believe it or not, in Boston. It's right in Bay Village. It's a 7 night a week show bar. One of the interesting things about Josh Cabaret, it served as a temporary morgue for the Coconut Grove fire, which was right across the road from it. It originally started out as a lesbian bar, and then turned into a drag bar. Um, I don't have a date of when it turned into a drag bar, but it's still a drag bar. 7 nights a week, did shows. Katya performed there. Jujubee performed there. It's just a place where you perform. It's where you get your chops. Um, and I was a show director. I was in charge of hiring, firing, putting together the opening, the closing. Um, I brought cable access into Joss Cabaret, so it would be a wider audience. What was interesting about my job at Jocks is that, being a drag queen when you're younger, you hustle your ass off. So I worked 7 nights a week at Jocks. And then after my show, I would Wednesday nights work Latino night. Thursday nights after my show, I do Mocha night. I sometimes did go-go dancing on Saturdays. And then on Sunday after my show, I work at either go to or work at Axis, Spit, Deviate, Avalon. It was a whole big complex on Lansdowne Street.
And you made a
Yeah,
living.
I
Yeah.
did. I did. Yeah.
It's glamorous, but it's hard work.
It's hard work,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
I just think that people think that show business and any kind of show business is glamorous, and
Oh.
Well,
it's
it is.
it can
But
be.
It is, but
it,
simultaneously, it's hard work.
it's hard work. There is the not repeating of outfits. What song did I do at this place? I now need a new outfit. These earrings go with this outfit. Okay, I'm going to Filene's Basement. Back in the day, Filene's Basement was amazing. And getting this Bill Blast dress that I'm going to wear for the show. It's just so many complex things.
Yeah.
Now it's even worse
Yeah.
because you are now a videographer. You're a social media influencer. You are doing reviews. You're doing this whole big thing that drag was so simple back in the day, and now it's just this big complex that like you've got to be on it or get people to help you be on it. But I just can't imagine the amount of stress people feel.
Yeah.
being
How do you feel about how drag has transformed itself over the years?
I feel very happy about it. Mind you, I'm not oblivious to you lose something when you gain something sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's something lost about drag that it's not as deviant in some ways. It's not so underground. But we have to pay that price to now have drag queens who are millionaires.
Right. Yes,
That was
yes.
never
Yeah.
a possibility back in the
Never.
day.
Right,
You
right.
know, you've got um, girls like Willow Pill and Evie Oddly who were so quirky. You wouldn't think they would work on in a bigger setting, and now they're celebrated for their quirkiness and their individuality.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I first began seeing drag shows in Chicago. I think the
Yes.
first person I saw was, I don't know if her name was
Chili Pepper. Chili Pepper. Yep.
Chili Pepper. I miss those old times because, as you're saying, there was something secret about them. There was, you know, I mean, first of all, you had to go at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So you either had to be high on some kind of drug or you had to have slept, right? Okay.
Right.
So that it was a very secret kind of place and it was rough. It has become an industry, which it wasn't before.
Yeah.
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 And there's something nice about that.
Change is something that is escapes nobody in no industry, right? So we have to change, and we have to learn to accept change. And yeah, we can reminisce and feel sad about the things that we used to know and we used to see, but for something to have longevity, there has to be change, and drag needed to.
Yeah, and there's a huge population of people who today are like, yes, I do drag. And
Right.
and before that just didn't really exist. Do you think that what's happening in America right now is going to hurt this population? Do you get any feel for it, or are we just going to have to wait and see?
Okay.
Oh,
Here's the thing: we as a community are going to survive. When push comes to shove, this community knows how to galvanize
Mm.
and knows how to work. We are in every sector of society.
Absolutely.
So, we know what to do. So the older of us are not freaking out. We're just sitting back, smoking a joint, and just waiting for the shit to happen. And then when the shit happens, we'll come together and we'll find a way to get through this. If anyone didn't see this coming, you're a fucking fool.
yeah, and it's been coming for a while.
This is all pushback for having a black president. This is all pushback for having abortion rights. This is all pushback from gay marriage. This is all pushback. This country has this nostalgic feeling about what America should be and it's not really seeing what America is
Or could be, right?
or could be,
Right.
Yeah.
you know? So it's depressing. It's kind of like, God damn it, we gotta do this shit again. I'm not doing it. These young kids can do it. I'll show you the way. I'll tell you what to do. I'm staying home, smoking a joint, and I'm just chilling. If you need me for a
Yeah.
show, call me up.
That generation has us to talk to them about what we have been through before. Everybody says going back in time. I mean, this is not going back in time. This is a horrible look at the future.
Temporary future. Not the future, temporary future.
Temporary.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with you. It's not so much a throwback as it is a cyclical feeling that we know now we do need to anticipate. Always can come back, you
Right.
know.
The thing America has to come to grips with is how we're not going to get rid of this side. This side's not going. How do we learn to live together? We're
Right.
not going to change them into us. They're definitely not changing us into them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how do we live in America that looks so different, but yet is accepting? I'm not saying they all have to come to drag shows. I'm not saying I'm going to hoedown or barn raising or whatever happens these days. I don't know what happens over there. But
Right.
but what? How do we become real Christians? How do we become real Christians? Being a Christian, I don't consider myself a Christian. I consider myself a spiritualist. But how do we become real Christians? Being a real Christian is a hard job. It's not going to church. It's not go and reading the Bible. How do you live with people who are different, who have different views from you? How can you still be loving? How can you still be accepting and still believe what you believe?
Yeah. An age-old question for the modern age, though. You know,
Yeah,
Right.
because
And that question's not going away.
no,
Right.
it's not going away. It's, I think of it as this festering sore that, we keep putting band-aids on it. Let it fester, let it explode, because it's a sickness, and eventually a sickness will be cured. And that's only going to happen through time. It's going to become more diverse.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
I think you're making a good point, though, that it will take the older generations, more experienced generations, telling stories, talking about things, listening to the younger generation, voting, showing
Yeah.
up, and then the younger generation taking all of that and making it their own fight, because it has to be. It has to continue that way.
Well, I think the most important thing right now is how do you talk to the 89 million who did not vote?
Mm, that's
How
such
do
a
you
good point.
talk to them? There's 89 million people who opted out of their right, because they didn't like either choice.
Right.
Well, news, homosexual blast. We all didn't like either choice. I'm not saying I'm against Kamala. I just didn't. She wasn't my favorite, but the choice was there.
Right.
And if I don't vote, I'm giving a vote for.
Yep.
And that's the same thing about racism. If you don't say something, if you don't stand up, you do nothing, that's a four. Whether in your heart that's not who you are,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a four.
Yep.
that's right.
So we've got to stand up and vocalize of what we want. Silence equals death.
Absolutely. And I think there's way too much silence right now. So,
Um,
and it doesn't have to be loud and screaming. It
yeah.
just has to be an opinion that I will not be swayed from,
Or a no.
or a
Mm.
no.
Mm.
Yep.
No, I'm not accepting that. I don't have to tell you why I'm not accepting it. It's a no,
I
Someone
like
gave me great advice once and said, you have to own your no just as much as you own your yes.
girl.
You have
Stealing,
to.
that.
stealing, stealing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You have to
Right.
own your no. I love that. It
Unapologetically. It's not a negative. By nature, we think, oh, no is a negative. It's not.
no, no. It can be a plus.
Right. It can be a not that, but yes, this,
Right,
So
right.
owning your no doesn't mean anything negative. It's empowering, really.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
now, Christy, do you have some questions?
I do. We ask these questions to kind of everybody, but before
Mhm.
I even get to them, I'm just personally curious. How'd you pick Zola as the name?
Okay. So my original name was Janelle. In 1989, Miss Universe was Janelle Commission. She was stunning, gorgeous, and I never heard the name Janelle before. I said, that's what I want my drag name to be. So when I first started going to Joss Cabaret, there was this trans woman named Janelle who was stunning. And I just didn't like the idea that there were two Janelles, and I just wanted to be an individual. So I'm at a friend's house, like a couple of doors down from Jacques in Bay Village, and a bottle of Zola corn oil was on the table. And so I love the Zola at the end of it, but I was like, and I was playing around Bola Nola, and I said, Zola, why don't we just use that? And so that's how it stuck.
It's a great name. I was just wondering where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I do have a couple rapid fire, kind of silly questions we ask everybody towards the
Okay.
end. What is your favorite accessory to perform in?
Favorite accessory, jewelry, hands down.
Any kind?
Honey, I had it's a sickness. I didn't realize that I was sick until a couple of years ago. I'm like, yeah, bad. I have a really great jewelry designer who designs a lot of stuff for me. Mons Couture, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. And I just love what they do, and they just kind of get me, you know.
When you want to look super glam, what's one makeup item that you use?
Honey, I'm a drag queen. I want it all.
So just all of it.
Um, what I guess glitter or rhinestones. I think that when, just doing your face with regular makeup, that once you pop some glitter on it, kind of just like, glitter and drag queens are always best friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I would say glitter. Yeah.
excellent. Do you have a favorite pair of heels that you like to perform in?
Oh God. Um,
I'm hitting you with all the hard ones today, I know.
You are getting me with all the hard ones. There isn't a favorite pair, comfortable. I know that is the antithesis of what a drag queen is supposed to do, but I will be 61 at the end of the month. My feet are tired of heels, but I have to wear them. So I tend to, I've now gotten to the um, geriatric part of my life where I'll wear my heels for the stage, but then I'm putting on flats afterwards to, you know, yeah, sorry.
Absolutely.
I paid my dues. Okay.
There's
Thank you.
no apologies necessary for that. That's just why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we feel you.
Yeah.
And then, do you have a favorite audience or a favorite venue that you've ever performed at? Like, what's the best show you ever did?
Mm, I've done several. People who are there for a show. That's my best audience. They're not on their phone. They've taken this 5 minutes that I'm performing and they are paying attention to me. Or they're recording. I don't care about the recording, it doesn't bother me. But people who are there for a show, people who are uninterested in a show at a show bother me.
Yeah.
It's the same way as a Broadway audience. You know,
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
heckle, don't be on your phone, don't have your phone ring. Just a common courtesy that if you're there for a show, be there for a show.
Zola, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom, for the years that you've put into being a fabulous drag queen. And also, I can just feel, this person who really cares about the world.
I will say being a drag queen really helped me become a better man.
Mhm.
It's been, I started out in an abused household. So abused kids tend to be very shy, very introverted. And Zola helped me walk into a room and just shine.
Mm.
That helped me to be a better makeup artist. That helped me to travel around the world. Edward would not have been able to do that. Zola helped him.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love everything and I love the world. And I'm just happy
Uh,
to be of service in this community. I'm happy to receive the love that I've received. And yeah, I'm, going to Florida and retiring. But
You're not retiring.
hey, every once in a while you got to feel good, and there's only so much a suit does for you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true. That is true. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing more of your beautiful spirit in the future. And thank you for being on this episode.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
He is so amazing.
Isn't he? Ugh. I hate that we have to go from like such a nice, light conversation to talking about this world that we're living in.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well,
well, hey, hey, hey.
thank
But
God for people being able to keep it in perspective and light and just keep moving forward.
and I think that the thing that he's saying is so important, which is he's not afraid. And because we are living in shocking shocking times, but he's not afraid because he said, you know, it will all come back. It will all everything will happen. And I know that's true. It's just that, you know, I worry personally for my son's generation. My generation, I mean, I don't know. What are they going to do? Shoot me? Okay. So, you know, I've lived 70 years. It's fine. You know, I mean, I'm really not afraid. If I have to go down, I would go down. But, you know, the younger generation, they have so much to live for, and to live to be stymied by this excessive negativity. I don't know how they do it.
It's discouraging and encouraging at the same time. I mean, I
Well,
feel like a lot of our world is in this state of flux where, depending on your perspective on it, it can be encouraging or discouraging. The cyclical nature of these things is horrifying to think about, that we just keep going back to, you know, these same cycles, these same exact cycles over and over. However, the encouraging part of that is that it does come back around, and that in general, these times don't last. We have to get through them, but they
yeah.
don't last because we don't tolerate them as humans. We don't tolerate them.
We just have to hope that by the time it comes back around, that things haven't been so broken that they're unable to be like I most
Exactly.
worry about the climate in that
Oh gosh, yes.
sense. Um, but yeah, you just hope they
Right.
don't do so much damage that it can't be undone.
And you know something, DEI is great. There will be DEI whether or not it's named that or not. I mean, it's the great thing about what has happened in the past years is that people will always have, they will always respect it because it's part of my DNA now. It's part of the way I think. I mean, it's actually normal
Right.
for us to be more inclusive. That's what we've done in America for years, is just to continue to be more inclusive and more inclusive and more inclusive.
Absolutely. And to that point, hopefully that means these cycles that we've been talking about do become shorter and less impactful in the long term, as Christy's talking about being worried about, because I feel like the new generation is going to say, we won't tolerate this. We've already talked this through. My grandparents already fought this fight and I'm done. You know, this is just part of who we are now. And maybe, the generation fighting against that, or and trying to push all that forward, will just fizzle away a little bit more quickly. I hope that's the case. Yeah.
Well, you know, happy to see somebody like Zola on our show. It's so interesting to see these extraordinary people who do drag come from every single walk of life. I think that it's amazing. I'm so happy we do this.
Mm,
Yeah.
me too.
Thank you, Gret. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. We'll see all of you again next time on Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
Yo ho.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants, as well as Virtual Arts on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. And be sure to check us out at www.virtualartsproductions.org for all our latest projects.
And if you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. That's all for now. Keep living dangerously and on your own terms.